All right, so we're going to talk more about reference angles, but in this time, last time we did reference angle from an angle, and this time we're going to do from a point. So what if we don't know the measure of theta? Can you still draw a triangle? Can you still find the reference angle? So that's what we're going to go answer yes to all those questions. So let's just double back on Algebra 2 trig. And geometry trig, actually. So here is a triangle. We have theta next to angle B. So our first job is to label opposite and adjacent. And opposite and adjacent would be tangent. So we have tangent of theta equals 4/7. So that means we have the tangent ratio, but we don't know the angle. So in order to undo that tangent, if you guys remember, it is tangent inverse of 4/7. And then you push in your calculator and making sure that you are in degrees. Otherwise, you're going to get some funky answers. So 29.745 is your answer. So in this case, so that's when we only had opposite and adjacent. Over here now, on the other one, we have all sides. So we have your opposite, we have your adjacent, and we have our hypotenuse. There's no right angle, but this is the right angle. So you have all sides, so you can pick your favorite ratio. It does not matter which one. I'm going to do sine. So sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So in order to find your theta, you're going to do your sine inverse of 8/17. Now, if you chose a different one, that is totally fine. You're going to get the same exact answer. You just punch different buttons in your calculator. You still should get 28.072. Sorry. So that's how we find angles. Just a reminder of inverse. So here is what we are going to be doing today. So you are going to draw the angle. So I first give you a point. So in this first example, I'm going to give you 4, -13. So you need to label the reference angle, connect your point to the x-axis. So let's do all of that together. So we have, let's do that a little straighter here. 4, -13 is down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect it to the vertex of the angle. And then it says connect your point to the x-axis. So that means I'm going to go up here. Now, this is your right triangle. Okay? So it says label the triangle. So how we label them, sorry, I wanted to zoom in so I can write it more neatly for you. So here is, so I went over 4. So this is 4. I went down 13. And then this is going to be my theta prime. So I labeled the reference angle, theta prime. I labeled my triangle 4 and -13. Set up the inverse trig ratio to find the measure of theta prime. So that means here is my opposite. Here is my adjacent. So O and A is your tangent. Now when you're given a point, you're always going to use tangent because you're going to use your opposite and adjacent. So opposite is 13/4. Now I'm going to leave off the negative only because I want to look at just this one triangle and I want this degree of this little angle. If you do negative, it kind of messes up some of the problems, and we'll get into that later in the chapter. But for right now, I'm just going to do 13 over 4 in my calculator. So tangent inverse of 13 over 4. And I get 72 point, well, maybe I should show you what I did first. So I'm going to do, tangent inverse of 13 over 4. And I get 72.897. So then it says add or subtract from the x-axis to find the measurement of theta. So I have, this is 360. So I need to find theta. So that means if I know that this is 72, my reference angle, that means I am going to take 360 minus 72.897 to get theta. So my theta is 287.103 degrees, and my theta prime is 72.897 degrees. So that is, I didn't write them where I was supposed to up here, but that's okay. I have them down here. And then you're done. That's all it asks you to find. So that's kind of putting all of these things together. Okay, now what I want you to do is let's do one more together. Because just to make sure you understand. Okay, so -9, -24. So it's going to be down here. -9, -24. So I'm going to draw my triangle. And this is negative, sorry, I'm getting lots of emails. -9 and -24. And then this is my theta prime. Whoops. This, oh, I didn't want to do that. Is my theta. Okay, so our first job is to find theta prime. So this is my opposite, this is my adjacent. So tangent inverse of 24 over 9. And I'm doing it positive because I just want this acute triangle. I don't want to worry about the directions. That negative is the direction of it. We will deal with that later. So I do tangent inverse of 24 divided by 9. So I get 69.444 degrees. And then for my theta, this is 180 degrees. So 180, and then I have to keep going. So if I only go to 180, that's right here, but I need a little bit more. I need that 69 degrees more. So that means 180 plus 69.444. And there's my two angles. So that is how we find a reference angle and measure of theta when given a point. So now what I want you to do is do one on your own and then see if you can find two coterminal angles with theta. Okay? So see if you can do all of that. Pause the video. I'm going to do it as well, and you can check your answers with me. And then we'll talk through coterminal. Coterminal is what we talked about the last video. So if you don't remember that, you can go back and watch that one. But pause it, and then we can talk through the answer. Okay, so here's my answer. -11, 6 is in quadrant 2. So I went over -11 and up 6. That's how, and then I drew my triangle. So 6 is vertical and -11 is horizontal. I use tangent because this is my opposite and this is my adjacent. I did 6 over 11. So tangent inverse of 6 over 11 gives me 28 degrees, 0.61. So that is my reference angle. Now to find theta, theta starts here and goes all the way, whoops, I went too far. So it goes from here to here. So I take 180, but 180 is too far, so I have to subtract that reference angle, so that's 28.61 to get 151.39. So that's what we did in the previous two examples. So now we were going to talk about coterminal. So coterminal. Okay, so now we're talking about coterminal. So find two angles that are coterminal with theta. So theta is your 151.39. So I have 151.39. So coterminal means that it ends in the same spot, but it can go around multiple times. So you are going to add 360. You could. So that means it could be 511.39 degrees. You could instead subtract 360 to get negative 208.61 degrees. Or you could take that 511.39 and add 360 again. So I would get 871.39. Now, I could do this infinitely, okay? I could keep adding 360. I could keep subtracting 360. There's no limit to that. So there's infinitely correct answers for the coterminal question. All you have to do is pick two of them. Remember, you are doing it from theta, not from theta prime. Theta prime is always a acute angle, so that is not always where the angle is. So theta is what you want to add or subtract 360 to. All right, hopefully all that makes sense, and good luck with the homework.